Morning again, Justice Warriors. How are you guys? It's so nice to finally get on my live chat. It is just about 11:30 Monday morning still, the 9th of January. So how is everybody doing? Monday. And the first Monday after the first full moon of the new year. So I just want to jump right into it. I like to get onto my live earlier, and so I'm kind of frustrated that it's taken so long. Of course, there's just a million things, and I'll be brief, but this morning it was like personal stuff. My kids, they forgot how to get themselves ready and out the door to school and all that jazz. Um, and yeah, just a whole lot of things. And then the lighting is a constant. I've got all these decorations. Like, do I look like I'm in a funeral home or something? I hope not. So good morning, Chrissy C. And happy Monday, darling. Good morning, Sherry and Pixie Knickers. So yes, let me start with my disclaimer and grab a drink of the coffee. Always need a drink of the coffee. Hey, Susan. Good morning. So let me start with my little disclaimer. Everything I'm about to say is simply my opinion, simply for the sake of conversation, hoping to open up a discussion. I am personally hoping to become more and more educated, and I hope that my viewers are here for the same purpose, to help educate each other and ourselves. So that said, I always like to acknowledge the fact that I make my videos for YouTube specifically, and YouTube is an entertainment platform. So just covering those bases. And, my mind has just been doing backflips over this case over the weekend, going to the Idaho 4 case. And, last week I started out the week saying, I don't want to talk about it anymore. There's a gag order. I want to respect that. And I still, of course, want to respect that. Absolutely. However, I feel like it's fine to talk about some things and to be mindful in how we discuss anything. Certain things, like, let me just start with something huge because I know a lot about the Sunshine Law. I've been doing public records requests for years. It's not something I'd ever known anything about until somewhere around 5 or 7 years ago. I was like, Sunshine Law, what's that? So let me get into that for a minute. Good morning, Phantasmic Ether and Fee Bennett. Hi. So good to see you guys. So I don't know how familiar with the Sunshine Law the viewers are, but let me get another sip of coffee and get on a roll. The Sunshine Law, I believe, everything I say is to the best of my knowledge. It's state by state, I believe. And I believe that it's like a federal mandate going back into the early 70s. Maybe that was because of the Panama Papers in 1972. Anyway, the Sunshine Law is state to state, I believe, and it basically states that the government is bound to transparency to the citizens. So that's the simplest explanation of it. So and law enforcement, of course, is part of the government. So when there's an active case, we can make a public records request. I call them public records requests. Other people I've heard call them Freedom of Information Act. So Freedom of Information Act, if you guys have seen that, FOIA. That's the same thing, Sunshine Law. So people can make a public records request. You can do it in an email usually these days. You can also do it over the phone. You could even do it in writing if you want to go completely old school. So good to see you guys. Hey, Rogue House and Pamela. Yay. Caleb Lee, good morning. Oh, you are officially monetized. I can't remember. I remember so much, but there's so much I don't remember. On Saturday, somebody said, was it you, Caleb, who said, well, this one's not monetized? And I said, well, that's because I don't know how to turn on the monetization until I'm done. So I just figured it out. So thank you. Anyway, the Sunshine Law. Freedom of Information Act. So you can make that request for anything under the sun. And then they are bound to respond to you within a timely manner. So that's very vague. Within a timely manner, they are supposed to respond. And when they respond, they can either send you what you asked for, which is to me maybe like, I don't know, it's not that common, but it's not that uncommon. So let's just say 50-50 that they're just going to send it to you. Most of the time, it seems like, or that other half the time, they will say, well, what you're asking for is too vague. We need more specific information. Like if you were to say, I want all of the information on the Kylie Rodney case, you would be contacting Placer County, Nevada County in California, and you'd probably send them an email. And you want to be as polite and professional as you can and treat them like a person, not a robot, and say, please send me these items. And then they might respond with, that's too vague. That's pretty much standard in my experience, that however it is you ask, whatever it is you ask for, they're going to give you at least one little back and forth. And then you say, okay, I want all of the Kylie Rodney reports from August 6th up until today. Anything in your county, please. And have a great day. And then if you're lucky, they might send it to you. Sometimes it's a back and forth a lot. And sometimes they're being real jerks and you need to be polite because they have the upper hand. They can say, well, you know what? We lost your request. I'm not saying anybody would ever do that, right? So I had spoken about it over the weekend and I hadn't been speaking about it too much because I wasn't 100% sure, because every state is different. And it's been my understanding the whole time that I've known anything about getting public records requests and sunshine laws that 911 calls are different. There's certain things that do not count as part of the police report. So we all know, most of us know anyway, from being true crime aficionados, that while a case is open, that's absolutely, you're not going to get any of those records until that case is closed, right? However, the initial 911 call is different than, say, a subsequent 911 call. The first call for an emergency is in its own bracket. So that is available across the boards. Again, I don't know Ohio. I live in Ohio. I don't know Idaho specifically. I did try to look it up, but you also need to remember that laws vary and there's case laws that will set a precedence, like something might have happened last week in Idaho. Or maybe there's a judge that made a special order for this case. I don't know. It can get very complicated and specific like that. Hey, Sis Vicious, thank you for being here, Maud. Thank you, everyone, for being here. And thanks for the congratulations, Rhonda. So yeah, I had gotten monetized, I don't know, a few weeks ago. It was all a blur. I want to say it was around New Year's, because it had been a while. It's supposed to take like 30 days and it had been like 60 or 90 days. And I checked on it. They said I never applied. So I redid it. And then it was like overnight, literally. They were like, oh, you're in. And then there's this, and then there's that. There's just all these hurdles to jump through. So it's just nuts. So yeah, that was, I think, New Year's. So then, you have to go in and go each individual live, each individual video, and hand do each one to make it monetized and answer some questions. And I did that on a whole bunch. And I thought, my goodness, this is going to take a lot of time. And then, I don't know, a whole bunch of them did it automatically. I don't know. I don't understand any of this. I just go with the flow. So thanks for the support. Thanks for being here. Let's get on with the show. I'm so curious what they're not wanting to share with the public about the 911 call. So where I want to be really careful with the gag order is with speculation, right? I feel like it's fine to talk about all the information that we have up until now. However, I this is just kind of my own vague idea, that moving forward, I don't really want to speculate on what might happen because I don't know. I don't know. And I don't want to say anything that's going to be um, misconstrued or, taken in the wrong way. I just would hate to have any kind of negative impact on anybody's justice, especially a situation as rancid as this. Um, Congratulations. With that in mind, everyone here, please remember to hit the like for Ms. Justice A to Z. Thanks. Um, those are the things I always forget. Please hit the like, subscribe, and share if you'd be so kind. And thank you, Maud, for remembering. It's much better to do it early in the video because then it helps the algorithm while we're still going for anybody who wants to be watching it live, that it'll send it out into the algorithm more better. Rhonda says, oh, and here I'm not even tagging nothing yet. Here we go. I like to be in my routine. When I get off my routine, I kind of get off my routine. I love your channel and chat. Love when the chat is nice on channels. That's why I watch and don't talk on some channels. Yeah, I don't like it when the chat's nasty. I feel like I want people to be honest. And if they're feeling salty, that's fine to feel salty and to be honest about it. I don't want anybody going after anybody. If you have a different opinion, if you think what I'm saying is completely wrong, it's fine to express that, but just doing it in a without all that anger and control stuff that I felt like was going on. It was like 3 weeks ago. I'll talk about that in a minute. The one where I actually think it could be the criminal defendant that came into that chat. I think it was a few days before Christmas, like right before Christmas. Anyway, you say it. Good job, Maud. Oops, suspicious. Happy New Year. Phantasmic Ether, the hashtag, Fee Bennett. This is the only chat I participate in on a regular basis. I love it here. Oh, that's super sweet. So the person is just driving me crazy that I can't find that video. I could swear it was right before Christmas that we were in our chat and somebody came in and said, all the experts know it's an incel, you're ridiculous, or something to that effect. And I was like, huh? I immediately addressed him. I had read it out loud. I say him, it could be a non-him. So when I read it out loud, I said, you're not allowed to be rude here. You're not allowed to be like that. I'm going to have to block you, but I'm going to give you a second chance. So I'm just going to delete your comment and not block you. And I totally expected them to say something else, either trying to modify themselves and be polite or continuing with the rudeness. But they said nothing after that. So it took a few weeks for me to realize that well could have been the person that they arrested, the criminal defendant. It kind of fits with the other things that we've seen and heard about online. And we know that he was all over the internet and social media and different platforms. And it might not be him, but I just wanted to find it because I wanted to turn it over to law enforcement in case there was any relevance to it. And there very well might not be any relevance to it, even if it was him. But it just has driven me nuts to not be able to find it. The only thing I can think is that maybe, with Big Brother watching us and all the IT, is that they know that he was on his computer making that comment, and so they pulled the video for their investigation, for their trial. I don't know how much is possible. I don't know how much is legal. Again, looking at the state of Idaho as a state, it's the most hands-off government over civilian life. But this is a horrible crime. And at the other end of that spectrum, we have Indiana, which is kind of the most hands-on with law enforcement. I've been talking to more people in the field, the profession of law enforcement, and Indiana is known for being, I said it over the weekend, being the good old boys, But really, specifically, I wanted to address something that I had never heard, which is the thing about the cop touching the car as they walked up in those two pullovers. So that touching the car is something that a lot of people noticed and spoke about and said, "Oh yeah, cops do that." And I was like, "I've never heard of that." So cops in Indiana do that. It used to be, again, back in the 70s, it was more common, but it's not common practice anymore. Only in Indiana do they still do that. So I just wanted to mention that. Um, it was like so that the cop's fingerprints are on it. Like, let's say, in case they killed the cop, pulled the cop into the car, then the cop's fingerprints would be on the car. I mean, it was for worst case scenario type of thing. So they quit doing it because it really never came in handy. So um, let's see. Fee Bennett said, I was a late bloomer, graduated 35 years old. That pic is about 7 years old now. Oh, I'm not sure what you are referring to. Fee Bennett says, I swear I remember seeing this comment and hearing you address it. I have some time today, so I'm going to try to find it. Oh, thank you, Fee Bennett. I'm going to highlight that. I I did find the video where am talking to you guys and I say that that guy did that thing yesterday. And I think that that was on the 20th, but again, it could be the 19th, it could be the 21st that I said that. And so being yesterday, meaning that the video would be from maybe the 18th or the 19th or the 20th. But the problem is, I don't think the public can see the exact date on the video, which is why I always try to timestamp them. And I think I already timestamped this at the very beginning, but I'm going to do it again just in case I didn't. It is 11:46 on Monday, January 9th, 2023. That's why I timestamp them, because when we're watching the videos, it'll just say like it was a year ago, it'll say it was a week ago, it'll say it was a day ago, and it generally says that it's a day ago when it's like 3 days ago. It's like they want you to think it's newer than it actually is. I don't know. It's hard to keep up with. There's so many nuances. So, I found it educational to go through those videos again and again, and I could swear I've watched every one of them twice, and that's why I'm thinking that the video might have actually gotten pulled. I can't be 100% sure. If anybody finds it, great. Please don't feel like you have to. If you want to, that's fabulous. If you find it, I will just be forever in debt. Um, I can help you look back through. Oh, sis vicious, look at you back through your lives if you're still trying to locate it. Well, you guys are so generous. I would love to locate it specifically and really only for the purpose of turning it over to law enforcement in the event that it can help them with anything. And you just never know. I mean, even though it was kind of innocuous, it could just help build their case of him running around the internet, dropping in on everyone's chat and such. All right. So cops in South Carolina still touch the car, Fee Bennett. That's hilarious. And see, these are things that's like really different state to state and the nuances and things change over time. I thought it was still protocol for most state highway patrol. Interesting. Um, so yeah, not according to law enforcement officials that I have consulted with, but maybe different states. And let's see. Look what got BTK caught getting on the internet. Just had to put himself out there again because they were talking about him again. Rhonda, I don't even know what got BTK caught. Honestly, I tried to ignore that case because these people are such attention whores. It's disgusting. So I don't want to give them the attention. I've learned a lot about the Bundy case. I've learned a lot about the Green River killer simply because I lived in the area where those happened and where the arrests happened. So BTK, of course, I remember when it was going on. I mean, his homicide started in the 70s, but then he wasn't discovered till I think 25 years later. And then I really just tried not to give him attention. But something that I do know about him that just shows what a jackass he is that the media usually gives the serial killers their cute little nicknames, which I think we should try not to do. And the guy with those initials, well, let's just call him BK since he wants to have that cute little thing. Or, you know, he's just a nothing burger, another nothing burger. So, bound, torture, kill was his stupid, disgusting initials, but he made that nickname for himself. So screw him. Screw him. That's why, I loved it when Harsh came up with Nothing Burger for this current criminal defendant that allegedly is accused of allegedly killing the four in Idaho. However, it was Shelley, the Gonzalez family attorney, that said he's simply a criminal defendant and that's all he is. And I thought, that's brilliant. Let's just call him the criminal defendant. I really, really like that. Caleb Lee says, I watched all those videos for at least 5 hours, and the closest thing was, oh, thank you, Caleb Lee. Look at you. Oh my goodness. I'm going to highlight that and write that down. You are awesome. And there's probably 2 videos from that day. So I don't know if you remember if it was the morning video or the afternoon video. 12:19, I mention the creepy comment. That is awesome. And I thought when I caught that part, I thought that I said yesterday. So I will go over again the 18th and the 19th so I can hear exactly what I say about the creepy comment and then go back. So Rhonda R says, love Harsh. He's a good man. And he did a show this morning, but the one last night, his most recent prior to the very last one, he disclosed a lot of information that I knew a little bit about, but it was fascinating to hear it in more detail about his mother's mental illness. And I think it's really cool when people can be open and honest and share these things in a very safe and appropriate way to demonstrate how they have the insight that they have. I mean, Harsh is extremely insightful, and it's for good reason. So I don't want to talk about that video of his, but just direct you to it. So I think he might have done 2 yesterday, and it's the one where he talks about his mother's insanity. Oh, and he had like a this long rant of let me see if I can find it real quick. Something that the criminal defendant put on their social media, allegedly. And I don't know if I was watching it on my phone. I was watching it on my phone, and I took a screenshot. So I hadn't seen this profile. Here, I'll show it to you guys if I can. It's not turning to make it bigger. Dang it. It was just this long rant that he made. It looks like a couple of years ago, July 4th. Oh no, it was a long time ago. July 4th, 2011. And he makes this long rant about his own craziness. So the profile, I don't know why Harsh thinks this is his profile. And I can't really see it. I'll show you guys my screen. It is so blurry. So that's a guy, head up here, t-shirt, black t-shirt, his arms, and a really long name, but it's blurry. And so I apologize. It's something, those with, it's a really long something. And in the middle, there is those with, and it says regular user. and I don't know much about it, but maybe I'll email Harsh about it. He is a good man. Like I said, I don't want to get distracted with that. But he was reading the thing that he thinks that the criminal defendant wrote all the way back in 2011. I'm glad I checked, so I know it wasn't more recent. And he was speaking about mental illness, and the person that posted it was speaking about their own mental illness. And he said in no way is he, advocating for this person. He just found it significant for him to talk about his own stuff. Okay. Isn't it interesting that BTK and BK both were suspected, apprehended via familiar familia DNA. BTK with his daughter, BK with his father. It is. It's an interesting connection because, yeah, it definitely seems like the criminal defendant modeled himself after that serial killer more so than other. Love the forever roses he got. His wife was beautiful. Oh yeah, those blue roses, that was really nice. I thought it was a gift from the company to him, but then he ordered that color for his wife. On my best day, I would have never found it that fast, Caleb Lee. And I'll if I missed something, please share it again because I don't want to go back just because it gets really confusing catching up. Fee Bennett says, you and Harsh are my go-to channels. Oh, that's so sweet. I love being held in the same regard as Harsh. I mean, he's been doing this YouTube channel for about an entire year longer than me. And I feel like he's really good at it. He's really down to earth. I'm very into just trying to be myself, not doing the bells and whistles, not doing like a big professional presentation. That I just feel like isn't my thing right now anyway. Maybe that'll change over time. I just really enjoy chatting with you guys and sharing with you the things that I've been thinking about and things I've been noticing, things I've been seeing in other videos. And you guys just have the most excellent comments. I love it. And Rona Jane hasn't watched Harsh yet. Well, you're in for a big treat. So I think. Harsh Reality is the channel name, and Harsh Reality was his nickname in high school. So after hearing his story about his mom in more detail, it made more sense why he's always been the dude with the harsh reality. That's just kind of his angle on things. Too many video games and horror movies. The channel is discussing us, Harsh Reality, and his channel is here. The channel Justice A to Z is discussing. Thank you, sis. You're awesome. All right. Yes. Yeah, you guys would probably really like his channel if you haven't seen it yet. Because if you like this channel, I would think you would like his. I'm on my phone and my eyesight sucked, part of getting old. BK is very extreme on everything. Weird drug choice was heroin, so extreme. Yes, to start a heroin addiction, to try that hardcore substance in 10th grade is pretty extreme. I would agree with that. The link I posted above will take you right to his page if you're interested in checking him out. All right. So let's see where to go with this conversation. I'm so excited to find that creep comment from the 19th of December. So thank you kindly for that. And then hopefully I'll be able to find the initial comment. So I did delete it out of the chat. However, it's still verbal that I read it out to the screen. So yeah, that's right where I thought it was. But that's excellent. Thanks again for that assistance. So can I jump over to the Kylie Rodney case real quick? You guys don't mind, do you? Talking about that case the last couple of weeks in the context of the investigation being investigated and things being not at all the way they were portrayed by the authorities. So we don't know much in that case yet, I don't think. But I said over the weekend on Saturday, I think it was, to just pay attention to what you know as your own individual in witnessing or viewing the news about when Kylie went missing and all the subsequent aftermath, especially the real significant time marks like when she was discovered, her celebration of life, the secret cremation during the celebration of life. And in my opinion, my thoughts and feelings really recognize how angry and defensive the people that should be mourning the most, the family and the friends who I call frenemies, um, the people who should be the saddest and the most upset are really the ones that are the most attacking, the most angry, and the most defensive. And, anger is part of the grieving process, but that anger, that misdirected hostility towards, say, YouTube, as opposed to, oh, I don't know, maybe being angry at the people that were there when it happened, for instance, you know, for her mother and for Trinity's mother to initially have zero anger about the situation, zero anger towards the people that were present, and just defending the people that were present tooth and nail. That's suspicious to me for both of those cases. They're both in Nevada County. What is going on in Nevada County? They're not the only two. We know there's been years of, there was a documentary made, Everyone Counts, that we've all referred to again and again. And there's just something going on. I still think that there's an outside chance that Kylie's not actually deceased. I think she's probably deceased, but I think there's a slim possibility that she might be in a situation worse than death, perhaps. That's my opinion. That's an idea that I have that I just can't shake. I just can't shake. I mean, I know logically, most likely she's deceased. In some ways, it would almost be better than if she were being held hostage, held captive. And at the same time, I hope to dear God that she might still be alive and could possibly be recovered. But let me see what. Hey, Crime Watch with Kenny, what's up? Hi, nice to catch you. I have not been very active today. Seems to be that the Kylie case has stalled, but maybe it's just because I'm a bit behind. Hope you're well. Well, yeah, the case had stalled for a while, and then it was getting like rejuvenated, and then it puttered out again last week lately. I think it's just a wait and see. Supposedly, allegedly, the case was just closed, meaning that we can go and make those public records requests and have them granted, perhaps, or see what happens. The Kylie Rodney case is making my head hurt at this point. 20 different views and creators arguing. Been hoping you'd cover your own thoughts, as your channel is absolutely my go-to for Kylie Rodney. Well, and I plan to. I'm sort of doing a wait and see at the moment. I just want to know what is going on with the investigation of the investigation, but I also want to make a public records request for her whole case, see what happens. If it was allegedly closed by Nevada County, I'll find out on my own for that. So, yeah. Let's talk about the pinging of the criminal defendant in the Idaho 4 case. I want to go back over his path from that morning that let's see, the morning during the crimes. It seems that he parked his car at, what was it, 404? I was thinking it was 405 or 406, 404, 405, 406. I think it's 404. So Xana's DoorDash delivery was at 4. He had been driving around 3 times. On the 4th time he parked about 4:04 according to, some surveillance cameras, and then at 4:12, she was still on her TikTok, like, interacting with her TikTok at 4:12. So we've got these statements that, Dylan that are in the affidavit where Dylan says she thought she heard Kaylee playing with the dog. She thought she heard Kaylee say, "Someone's here." And then she thought she heard some crying, and she thought she heard, I think she says, a male's voice say, "It's okay, I'm going to help you," which to me is the creepiest of the creepy. And I'm sorry, I know I'm missing a lot of your comments. I'll try to catch them in a second. Um, it's okay, I'm going to help you. And so there's been speculation like, well, maybe that was Ethan who said that. Maybe that was the criminal defendant that said that. In just letting it sink in, it seems more and more likely that it was the criminal defendant saying it. I also want to add that this is Dylan's report, and Dylan was extremely traumatized, and her report might not be accurate. Although I would think that in the affidavit it would say something to that effect if there was any thought of it being, you know, vague. So it's hard to say, but it just struck me as like the most disgusting thing in the world when I first saw that. It's okay, I'm going to help you. And my first thought was that that was the attacker saying that. And then I thought, well, maybe it was Ethan, maybe it was this, maybe it was that. And I'm kind of back to thinking it had to be the assailant. And just how vile that is to give somebody false hope like that, you know? Like that is just unbelievable. The whole thing is pretty unbelievable. So then the car went speeding away at 4:20. So 16 minutes from the time that he was in his car until he was back in his car. And then we all know that he went back by the house. He left his house at about 9 a.m. I've been going back over the affidavit. Um, let's see. He left his house the following morning at about 9 a.m. I think he got to their property that he pinged there at about 9:12. I want to say he left there at about 9:18, and that he got back to his own apartment at about 9:30. And I had all these notes about this, and now I can't find that notebook. So I'm just going off of my brain. um, then and then the 911 call came in at 11:58. That 911 call is being concealed. Makes me question, could it be that he was so desperate to get the ball rolling that he's actually the one who called 911? A lot of criminals do that. A lot of criminals are the people that call 911 because they want to show off. They're like, look what I can do. Like a freaking toddler. Look what I can do. It's my thought that that's why he went back the next morning at 9 to 9:30. I don't think he went back there to find his sheath. I think he left his knife sheath there on purpose. I think that it was wiped down so that there was no DNA, no fingerprints, but he didn't think of that little tiny hole in the back of the snap where they found his DNA. And it was found on the bed right next to Maddie in plain sight. Initially it was reported that it was found under one of the deceased people. It's just so interesting how the information comes through the YouTube and across the country, and it gets so convoluted. You guys remember the early reports were that the surviving roommates were upstairs and that the non-surviving roommates were on the first and second floor. I'm thinking that some of that confusion was because Dylan was on the second floor. And so there was just a lot of back and forth. It wasn't until the affidavit that anybody realized that she was sleeping on the second floor. I had been wondering because I thought that it said that her room was on the second floor. So I was like, well, why was she sleeping on the first floor? Maybe she was just hanging out in the other roommate's room and fell asleep in there. Sis Vicious says, Justice A to Z put in a Freedom of Information Act for the tow truck video. If it was turned over to Ellie and the case is closed, an accident, there's no reason they should withhold releasing the video, right? Right. If it's closed, absolutely. That's a great idea. That is a fabulous idea. Pam K says, what do you make of the frozen tissue statements rumor? Oh, yeah. Let's see. I don't want to be jumping back and forth. So let me finish the thought with the time frame of the day on the Idaho case real quick first. So it sounds like, again, from the affidavit, that the criminal defendant drove back to the area that he lives in, and he went to an Albertsons grocery store in the area that he lives in at about 3:30, and he went to like a coffee shop, I think. And then he drove 2 hours away, like to the other side of Idaho. So further than 2 hours from Pullman and about 2 hours from Moscow. And then he turned off his phone again. So he turned off his phone during the commission of the crimes, allegedly. And he turned off his phone from about 5 p.m. until 8 p.m. On this is Monday, the third, or not, sorry, not Monday, Sunday, the 13th of November. And I caught a 10 to Life. Annie Elise talks about this in great detail. And I think that it's her speculation and conjecture, but I'm not sure. I thought I had heard it somewhere else too, possibly, but it might be somebody who saw her show. That there's a state park right there where his phone pinged right before he turned it off. So he was there potentially, this isn't like for sure, that he could have been in a state park for 3 hours, that he was in that area on the other side of Idaho with his phone turned off, hours after the commission of the crimes. So anyway, I wanted to readdress it because I was kind of thinking the same type of thing, that he may have gone into Albertsons to buy lighter fluid or charcoal, or even, sometimes they sell chopped wood at grocery stores. And probably in Idaho and Eastern Washington, they probably do all the time. But that he very well may have had a burn pit to burn all the evidence. So that seems like that's an idea that other people have come up with as well. So I just wanted to cover that real quick. And then going back to what Pam K said, what do you make of the frozen tissue statements rumor? So True Crime with Kenny was, are you still here, True Crime with Kenny? You were the first, or Crime Watch with Kenny. That's, I went back to look at it. So Crime Watch with Kenny with a K was the first person I ever heard talking about her vehicle being inside of like a Mack truck trailer. And let's see, Crime Watch with Kenny had said a few minutes ago at 12:03, so 10 minutes ago, what kind of, oh wait, sorry. I had a lot of hopes with the info Kevin Neese had given out, but not so confident now. Well, I would say, hold off on making a judgment one way or the other. Remember, Kevin Neese was law enforcement, so I have a lot of confidence in him too, and we'll see what happens with that. Anyway, Crime Watch with Kenny, what I was saying about you being the first place that I heard anybody talking about the trailer that her car was in. And then some of that information that Kevin Neese had come out with was that her black box said that she was in this area where they have those types of refrigeration Mack truck trailers. Um, so to answer your question about her potentially being frozen, it really makes me wonder. I was talking about this with one of my mods. I'm so suspicious of a handful of photographs of Kylie, and I made a post about it on my community page a few weeks ago. And the top picture is the purple one of her with heavy black eyeliner and her eyes closed, and it looks very photoshopped, like a whole lot of extra, like black. It looks like eyeliner at first, but then to me it looks more like black triangles are like put in the corners of her eyes. And that photo to me I've always gotten a bad feeling from that photo, that she just looks very unanimated. She looks unalive, in my opinion. And then there's other photos that have been, speculated on by many, that she looks unalive, like the one where she's in the flannel shirt and it says sleepy, the one that kind of looks like a oh, what is it? It's that Be Real photograph of a blonde with two brunettes in the back of a car, allegedly the night of the party. And it's like a Weekend at Bernie's type of vibe, in my opinion. And then there's the photograph, the little Polaroid that Jagger's holding when he's driving around a silver CRV with Long Live Kylie, the LLK painted on the steering column. And he's like taking a picture of himself driving with that little weird Polaroid down by his speedometer. And it just doesn't look right. Like those four photographs to me look like pictures of her when she's unalived. So the one where with this all purple, that's at the top of the stack in that community post that was a few weeks ago. I wonder if she might be frozen in that photograph. I wonder. Her face just doesn't look like her face. It's very puffy. Just the way gravity is, just the way all of it is. Just look at that photograph and tell me what you guys think. You can put comments in that on that community post if you feel like it. But there's also Zanime and Jane Doe number 1, Jane Doe number 2. The names of Xana being Anna, and then Jane Doe number 1 or 2 being her niece, and I want to say the name is Elise. I can't even remember. Both of the names are from Frozen, the cartoon movie, right? There's always been this element of that Frozen movie in my heart, in my chest, in my gut, with Ms. Kylie Rodney, and just living in this kind of frozen castle, like way the heck, what, 4 miles from the road that you can only get to by snowshoe or cross country skis in the winter, up by Donner Pass. So, I've got kids and they've watched that movie Frozen 100 times in my house, but I've never really watched it. So, like, I kind of know the theme of it, but I kind of don't, because I'm always busy doing my mom's stuff. But my point is that when I heard about her potentially being frozen in that most recent report of Kevin Neese, I thought, oh, damn. Again, just like the whole theme of the movie is jealousy. Whether that jealousy is from a peer that is close to her age that is competing with her for boyfriends, or that jealousy is a relative who wants what her grandfather is giving to her, and what she's inheriting from her grandfather. I don't know. But I do know that the theme of that movie is jealousy. And so the thing with being frozen just kind of hit me in the gut. I was just like, ugh, kind of fits, but I don't know. Again, Anna and what was the name? Elise? Did you guys put it in here in the comments? Let me see. Get caught up. Zanime did something out on the water, scouting maybe, seeing if anything was visible, planting or retrieving something. She's such a sick psycho. She thinks she's so freaking clever. She's absolutely disgusting. What did I miss? The potato was acting up again. What? The potato was acting up again. What have I missed? The picture of Kylie in the back of the vehicle where she's supposed to be sleeping is creepy. Her eyes are slightly open. And let me say, I'm really excited to share with you guys that I just put up a community post last night of the kidnapping video. So I had spoken about it last week. I thought I could find it. I couldn't. And then Shanda from Squirrels on Fire, she had it, but she got super sick. So she finally got it to me yesterday and I put it up on the community post. So anybody who hasn't seen that video yet, check it out. It's really short and it's really creepy. And when I first heard about it, I heard that it was her friends, people she ran with that posted it, and that it was a girl being like tied up or put in the back of a trunk of a car. And it's not a trunk of a car. It's a cargo area of a SUV. It's not a trunk of a car. It's a cargo area of an SUV. And I think her hands are bound, maybe with zip ties or something. But clearly in the video, she's kind of getting into the back cargo area of I almost said CRV, of the SUV. And it even like they help push her in and then they close it, and you can see, I think it says like Highlander or something. I think it's like a white Toyota Highlander, and there's even a big like bumper sticker, so somebody, if they wanted to, could figure out exactly whose car that is. But I think that they posted it right after she was found, and it was just super creepy, and it got a lot of talk on the airwaves, but then it was hard to find. So thank goodness Shanda was able to get it to me. So I finally, just last night, was able to post it on my community tab. So go there if you want to see it, or if you want to see it again. So let's get caught up with some of your comments. I apologize that I'm missing so many. We're getting close to an hour. I've been decent so far this year. Wishing you the same, Sis Vicious. What day are those pics from in the community post? So the community post with the Frozen picture and the one where she's wearing the plaid flannel shirt and that says Sleepy, and the one where it's like Weekend at Bernie's. I want to say I posted that like 3 weeks ago. So I only learned how to use my community tab like a month ago. And I have posted quite a bit there. So yeah, you do have to do a little bit of digging, but it's not too hard. You just scroll and you'll see it. You'll see the pictures of her. But when you do a community post, you can only have 5 photographs in a community post. And it's annoying that they're stacked on top of each other. Like there's no way you can like share the screen so that you can see all 5 of them at once, unless there's some trick that I just haven't figured out yet. Let's see. There were, maybe still are, dirty Frozen videos all over YouTube for little kids to watch. Oh, how disgusting, Rona Jane. I am so sorry to hear that, but thanks for sharing. Because again, if some of our suspicions are accurate, there was stuff like that going on out there at the lodge that we don't even want to think about. So Caleb Lee says, justice for Idaho 4, justice for Kylie. So glad you were able to find it. Yes. Thanks again to Shanda. She's rocking. I knew she would have it. I just didn't know if she'd have time to get it to me. And then she was happy to, but then she got sick and then she came through. So yeah, Anna and Elsa. Thank you, Deanna, Anna and Elsa. Yeah, I couldn't remember the names. Like I said, it's hilarious how many times I've been in the company of it playing that it's almost like I've seen it, but I'm always, cooking, cleaning, doing the laundry. I mean, I've had 20 years of mothering. So there was a big chunk of time where I was like the stay-at-home mom. And I think that that Frozen movie was like towards the end of my stay-at-home mom stint. I did my stay-at-home mom stint from about 2009 until, I don't know, 5 years ago, somewhere around there. Yeah. So yeah, having kids, it's like you do what you can with family and daycare. And I had a full-time nanny for a while, and then I was a full-time stay-at-home mom for a while. I mean, for myself, and I can only speak for myself with 4 kids, you just have to be flexible and do what you can. And, of course, you want to make money. You want to be the one with your kids. Like, how do you find the balance, and how do you do that? So I feel like I was very fortunate to be able to do that for a few years. I didn't think I'd ever be able to. But it was even before I had the fourth one that we finally decided that one of us needed to be the full-time stay-at-home parent and not have to have a nanny. That was way too expensive. Once again, everyone, don't forget to hit the like button if you haven't already. And let me read a few more of these and then wrap it up. We're getting real close to an hour. Crime Watch with Kenny says, knowing what Kevin told us about Kylie making it back home, I always had suspicions that whatever happened to Kylie happened at the lodge. I am with you 100%, Crime Watch with Kenny. I had not really thought that until the information came out with Kevin Neese a week ago or so. But I know that there were many people who thought that, and I never ruled it out. I just didn't have such an inkling. And I don't know if that's something that he feels like isn't verified yet. Um, I don't think that everything he put out is not verified at all. I think that a lot of what he put out has been verified, but that there were some significant details that he wasn't 100% sure on. And so he just was trying to err on the side of being responsible. And I think he was getting a lot of heat too. You know how you do when you hit the truth. You get a lot of trolls coming at you saying, "Oh, you're a dummy, aren't you?" I mean, people just come out of the woodwork. So yeah, please hit that like button. Thanks, you guys. I was emailing with Kelly Watts about concern for Dylan due to people threatening or condemning her. Yeah, Kelly from Watts the Obsession. She's such a sweetheart, and she's so responsible and knowledgeable. Yeah, I think we all have questions about what the heck was going on with that, but I stand firm on treating the 2 surviving roommates as victims as much as the non-surviving roommates are victims, and just allowing them the grace and the time to heal. And if there was anything nefarious at all, I think that will come out. I don't think that there was anything nefarious from those 2. I think that